Hey everyone, in this video I will show you how you can use a Bootstrap template in your Angular application. So what I have seen is the developers who are just starting to learn Angular or who are not very familiar with it have problems in using a Bootstrap template in their Angular framework or in their Angular application. So I decided to create a video on this very specific topic. If you are not a newbie in Angular and you are an experienced developer, then I guess that you don't really need to watch this video, because I don't think that there is anything which should be new for you. But still, if you want to watch this video, then you are most welcome, and maybe you will learn something which you don't know already. So over here on this web page there is the link of a Bootstrap blog post template, and I'm going to convert this entire page to use it in Angular framework. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to divide this entire page into different sections and components, and then I will show you how we can piece all of those components together in the HTML so that the page will look exactly like this with everything which is being displayed over here. So I'm just going to open up the source of this HTML which we will be using to create the components. And the first thing which we need to do is we need to create a new Angular application, and I'm going to use the ng command for that. Ng new, let's name it Bootstrap Angular, and let's also enable routing for it. So the Angular application has been created, and now I will navigate to the folder and let's open this application in Visual Studio Code by writing code dot in the bash terminal. So these are all the files and folders which have been created with the application, and before I continue to do anything else, first I would like to show you the structure of this entire template and all the HTML content which is contained inside it. So there is the head and the body. The head contains a bunch of different meta tags and the title, and then there is the CSS files references. Now in the body there is the top navigation pane, which is this one, and then there is the container div, and then the container div contains the post content, and then it also contains the side widgets. So we are going to convert, or we are going to contain all of these things in individual components. For example, the post is going to have its own component. Similarly, the search widget will have its own component. The categories are going to contain inside a component, and so on. So that is how we are going to convert all the HTML which is inside this template to be used in the Angular application. So let's do that. The first thing which I will do is I will open up the terminal, and then I will download the required node dependencies, and the required dependencies are only of Bootstrap and jQuery. So let's do that. npm install and then jQuery. And then let's also get Bootstrap. Now we need to add the references of these two JavaScript files in our application, and to do that we need to open up the angular.json file, and then we need to go to the build section. I guess it is, yep, over here. Now in this build section we can add the references for the scripts and styles which our application or web pages are going to use in these arrays. So in the scripts array I'm going to add the dependencies for the script files of Bootstrap and jQuery. So for that I'm going to navigate to the node modules folder. So the first folder which I'm going to open up is the jQuery. Let's open up the folder of jQuery and then distribution, and then let's copy this jQuery.min.js. I'm going to copy the relative path, and then we can paste it over here. We need to convert these backward slashes into forward ones, and then similarly we can copy the path from the Bootstrap folder, and to do that I'm just going to navigate to it, and there it is, Bootstrap and then dist and then js. Now bootstrap.min.js, let's copy the relative path and then let's paste it over here like we did for the jQuery's URL. We need to convert this path into a valid one. And now apart from the JS file, there is also the reference of the Bootstrap's style sheet or CSS file, and I'm going to copy the path of that CSS2 by going into the CSS folder, and then let's copy the relative path of the Bootstrap CSS file, the minified one. Okay, and then the last thing which we need to take care of about the style sheet is this custom CSS. I'm just going to copy this from over here, and then let's go into the, let me just first close this node modules folder. Now let's go into the src folder, and then there is this style.css file. I'm going to paste it over here, save everything, and then let's just close everything. And now it's time to convert or divide this HTML content into Angular's components. So the first thing which I will do is I will copy this entire thing which is inside the body into the, where it is, into the app components HTML. So app.component.html, I'm just going to replace everything from over here. And now the first component which I will add is for this top navigation bar, and to do that I'm just going to add a folder called components, and then let's add or generate new components, ng generate component, or in short we can also write ng gnc, and then first the folder name which is components, and then the name of the component which is the, let's call it top navbar, and then in this top navbar's HTML I'm going to cut and paste this entire thing over here, and then in this app component HTML I'm just going to write the tag name, or I'm going to add the element of this top navbar component. So first I need to see what is the name of the selector, so it is this one, app top navbar. Okay, so now the next thing which we will do is we will add a component for the footer, so let's do that. Let's call it footer, and then in this footer HTML I'm going to cut it from over here, and then let's paste it over here, and then we can copy the selector name of this footer, and then let's just add it as an element into this app components HTML. Alright, so top header and footer bars are done. The next thing which we need to do is we need to get or convert this entire post content into a component. So alright, so here are two things to consider over here. What we can do is we can either convert this entire post and comments area into a single component, or we can decide to have the post content into a single component and then this comments area into another component. For this video or for this example, it doesn't really make any difference. So to save time, I'm just going to put the post and its comments into a single component. So let's do that. Blog post. Now I'm going to copy the HTML, which is over here. Post content column is over here, and then there is the title. So I'm going to copy it from this title and up to the point where the comments are ending, and I guess they are ending over, let's see, what's this div for? It's for the, yep, it's for the column. So I can safely copy this entire thing, and then I can cut it from over here, and then let's open up the blog post components HTML. We can paste it over here, and then over here we can write the app blog post. So that's done. Now it's time to add the components for these sidebar widgets, this search widget, categories, and then this another sample site widget. So for this search widget, I'm going to add a new component. Let's call it search widget, and then I'm going to copy this entire div. Actually, not this entire div, I just need to copy the this one, this entire thing, this entire div. So let's cut it from over here, and then we can paste it into the component HTML. Similarly, let's add the component for these categories. Category widget, press enter, and then let's open up the component HTML, and then I'm going to copy all of these things and then paste it over here, and then let's also add the side widget. And I'm going to cut it from over here, and then open up the component HTML file, paste it over here. Now we can add the components over here. So for search widget, the selector is this one. Let's close it. For the categories widget, the selector is this one. And then for side widget, the selector is this one, app side widget. Let's copy and paste it too over here. So now this is more or less done. So before moving on, I just want to check if the layout has been set up correctly or not, and if all the JS and style sheet references are being loading correctly or not. So let's do that by executing the ngserve command, which is going to run this application on the localhost's port 4200, and I'm just going to control click on it. So yep, it is looking pretty good actually. Everything and all the layout is correct over here. So now the next thing which we need to do is, instead of directly adding the app's blog post, we are going to add a router outlet over here. Router outlet element, and then I'm going to delete it from over here. So what should happen is the Angular application should be able to change the contents within this main area depending on the URL which is in the address bar. So we need to add this router outlet element, and then we will set up a default route to be used. And to do that, I'm going to open up this app routing module. Let's add a new route, and then the value of the path property should be empty to tell the Angular framework that this is the default path. And then the component which we are going to place in the router outlet element is going to be the this blog post component. So let's do that. Alright, so now it's time to check if our application is running or not. I'm just going to you know what, I didn't really need it to run the ngserve again because I have just made a code change. In any case, let's just run it again and the result is still the same. Now after this, the next steps which I'm going to take for this example is I'm going to add these meta elements in the head, and also we need to set the title too. So let's do that. To set the title, what we need to do is we need to open up the app component class. To add the meta elements to the head and also to change the title, we need to add two services. The first one is the title service and then the second one is the meta service, and we are going to import them from Angular's platform browser folder, and I just made a spelling mistake over here. Now in the app component class, what we need to do is we need to create a constructor because it is not already here, and now in this constructor I'm going to inject the dependencies for these two services, for these title and meta services. So first let's have the private property for the title service. This is going to be set by injecting the title, and then let's also have the meta service. To set the title, we simply need to call the title services set title method, and then we can provide the title which we want to set. In our case, I'm just going to copy this one which is in the HTML of this sample template, and I'm just going to paste it over here. Now to add the meta tags, we just need to call meta dot add tag, and then we need to provide the information about the tags which we are going to add. So in this HTML, I'm just going to add the tags for this viewport, description and author, and because I think the character set meta element is going to be added by default, so we don't really need to add it explicitly. So let's just add these three meta elements. So the first one is the viewport. So what we need to do is we need to supply the property values for first the name and then the content. Name is viewport, and for the content it is this one. And then I think we also need to provide the boolean argument as true to force addition of this meta tag. Alright, so this is the first one. The second one is the description. It doesn't have any content, so I'm just also going to leave it empty, or you know what, let's just add a description. Let's add learning Angular Bootstrap setup. And now the third one is the author. I'm going to set the value as my name as the author of this web page. So I guess that should be pretty much it, and we can again see if this is working or not. So the changes for the meta and title are not going to be visible when we will view this page source, because this entire content has been rendered from the server, but Angular make changes on the client side. So we need to press F12 and then we can go in this elements tab. So here we can observe everything which we have just done over here. So you can see that the title is being set over here, as well as the meta for viewport, and then description and author. So the viewport meta element is being added twice. So what we need to do is we need to update the existing one instead of adding a new one. So to do that, instead of calling the add tag function, I'm going to call the update tag function, and we also need to remove this boolean true from the end, and that should be it to prompt the update of the existing meta element instead of adding a new one. So you can see that the code is modifying the existing one and the new one is not being added over here. There is actually an error in the console which I am not really sure why it is over here, and I guess I need to see what I have done. So I guess the script of Bootstrap is not loading correctly, so let's check it. Let's go to the angular.json and then jQuery is here, and then okay, so I have pasted the file name for the map file instead of the JS file, so I'm just going to rename it. Let's stop the server. Let's run the serve command again, and hopefully this will remove the error which we were seeing. Yep, it's gone. So this is how you convert any Bootstrap template into individual components to be used inside any Angular application. So the thing is that this template is pretty easy to convert. There is no complex HTML involved over here, but even if there is, after giving some time, I'm sure that anyone can do it if you know what you're doing. So that should be pretty much it about this video, guys, and I hope that you will like this video. If you do, please don't forget to place a like on this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. By doing that, you will be always the first to know about any new video updates which I am doing every now and then on my channel. Till we meet in the next video, have a great day.